Hello friends, Clage back with another Punishing Grey Raven guide today, and we are going to be talking about Bianca Stigmata and her new leap upgrade. Just like Crimson Weave in this patch, Bianca has gotten a new leap, and much like how Crimson Weave's leap focused on her elemental affix, hers being Dark Flow, this new leap upgrade is also going to do the same for Bianca, that being the ultima / elemental affix. So most of her leap skill is focused around the new elemental effects properties, but it does come with some perks for her on her physical damage output and her physical damage rotation. So we're going to go over what you need to do it, just like the last video, what her new abilities are, and if it's worth leaping Bianca in the first place. So, just as before, you're going to need 3 materials to max out all 3 leap skills. First, you're going to need 630 of the Aura basic units. These can be bought 30 at a time per day in the regular shop for cogs. It is pretty expensive to do it this way. I do not recommend doing this unless you absolutely have to. However, if you go into the event shop, you can purchase these in the materials section, 10 at a time for 123 event currency. This makes a much more simple way to get these built up and, frankly, a lot cheaper all overall. Alongside the 630 Aura basic units, you're going to need 180 skill points. If you have been playing PGR for any amount of time at this point, you probably have a big old chunk of these saved up. If for some reason you don't, come into the event shop, purchase them there. You'll get built up quite quickly. The last material you will need, of course, is the character-specific Leap Wafer Chips. These can be found in the Recycle Shop, the first tab that opens. If you go all the way to the right here, you will find Stigmata's Leap Wafer Chips available. They cost 15 basic Leap Chips a piece. You'll need 135 of these total to fully upgrade all of Bianca's Leap skills. If you are in need of more of the Leap Chips themselves, the best way to get those is to go into the War Shop. You can purchase them at a rate of 4-to-1 war points to the Leap Wafer Chips. No matter how long you've been playing PGR or how much war currency you have saved up, I highly recommend this is about the only thing you buy with the war currency. With the event farming stage being universal and evergreen now, there's not nearly as much need for buying the memory resonance picks because, frankly, re-rolling memories is not nearly as bad. It's far less tedious and far less punishing to do than it used to be. And any memory that you would want out of the war shop can be purchased in the event shop for event currency. And I would much rather use a currency that we can literally farm every single day from now till the end of time, as opposed to one that we only get so much of every week. So, highly recommend saving your war currency for the Leap Wafer Chips to be able to go and get the character-specific leaps when they are released. Characters are going to continue to get leaps going forward. Pretty much every new modern character eventually gets some kind of leap upgrade down the line. The only ones that regularly don't are often the units that are free out the gate. So units we've gotten from dorm commissions and such. But even that is changing, as I know in the future, Alyssa Echo is going to get a leap, and she was a free unit. So it's never bad to have a stock of these. We're going to have more leaps that probably also help boost the elemental fixes in the future. So just a good bit of future proofing to save war currency for leap chips at this point. But let's talk about the actual process of leaping Bianca and what her new skills do. So we go to her skill tabs, go down to the leap, just as we did for Crimson Weave, and you get to see all 3 skills. Again, you will need 630 Aura units, 135 character leap wafers, and 180 skill points to take all 3 of this to their max level of 18. So what does Bianca's leap do? And I'll go into a combat demonstration, obviously, to show it all in action. But the general rule of thumb, instead of reading you multiple paragraphs of a lot of numbers and nouns, is that mostly her kit for the leap focuses on the ultima / affix. Again, there are small bits of extra physical damage on some of the pieces of the kit that also enhance some of her older attacks to do a little bit more damage. So it's not nothing for the physical team, but the leap is mostly going to boost her ultima / damage. You're not going to see a gigantic leap in output for her physical damage and physical rotation. 1, because the kit focuses more on the elemental fix, and 2, because at this point in time, Bianca is now a sub DPS. Han Ying is kind of leading the charge on the physical team. So if you're only concerned about the physical team, if you know you're nowhere near to the point worrying about Ultima Slash or any of the elemental fixes, you can absolutely hold off on leaping Bianca because you're not going to see a huge output. But let's go over what she does get for her leap skills if you max them all out. Probably the biggest and most notable perk out of this for Bianca's base kit, the physical kit, is that now when she does her force matrix, where she holds down dodge, she snaps her fingers and goes into the force matrix. Now when you do that, that's going to activate available QTEs. This is super nice because now we no longer have to try and perfectly pick the right color orbs to match up for the cross slash when you match the color orb with her afterglow orbs, the orbs that sit above the bar. This is really nice because that's when you want to call your first set of QTEs with Bianca, is when she does the cross slash. That is far and away her hardest hitting attack in her base form before she gets into sword form. So getting rid of that orb RNG, which is literally the only orb RNG Bianca has at all, is quite nice. So a very good perk there. In addition to that, her signal orbs will now do a little bit more damage. So just a nice 20% increase on the base damage of her orbs. Nothing wrong with that. That's always welcome. Another nice thing is that now when you go into Sword Dance, which is Bianca's sword wave attacks, once you go into the sword form, you hold down the attack button and Bianca takes to the sky, starts slashing, does all the sword waves. If you move Bianca, so tilt the joystick or whatever your movement option is if you're a keyboard and mouse player, if you move her while she is spamming the sword waves, she's going to create an after image of herself that also spams sword waves at a rate of 80% damage to her normal attack. So just a nice little bit of physical damage boost there. Otherwise, pretty much the rest of the kit is centered around building up the new glow marks, which is a different type of stack in her sword form that is specifically meant to do Ultima Slash damage, and then a new attack string that will help build up those marks and build up True Slash or Ultima Slash damage. Sorry, it's called True Slash in the Chinese version, so still kind of adjusting to that, but the rest of the kit pretty much centers around her elemental fix. So let's go ahead and show you all this in action, and I'll kind of show you how it all works, and we can talk about whether or not you should be looking to leap Bianca right here and now. One nice perk, again, is that if you are interested in the Ultima Slash team, the good news is if you have the physical team, congrats, you have the Ultima Slash team. There are only two characters with that fix right now. It is Bianca and Han Ying. And if you're using those two, well, you might as well use Echo while you're at it. So don't have to change anything on Bianca's build to utilize the new leap or utilize the Ultima Slash. Her build does not change, which is very nice. And her rotation stays mostly identical except for utilizing the new skills. So let's get in. I'll show you how everything works in practice here. But as mentioned, now when we bring Bianca in, we get our orbs all set up. We have our afterglow orbs. In this case, they are blue. Normally, what you would have to do when you go into the Force Matrix and set things up to do her cross slash, you would want to set it up so that your QTE bot is pinged, and then you can trigger the afterglow orbs. But now, we don't got to worry about that, because both QTEs are going to activate as soon as we snap the fingers. So we go in. We use some orbs, we do the cross slash, call to UTEs, get the gauge completely full. One thing that is very, very, very important for the Ultima Slash things, and I'll go over the full Ultima Slash rotation once I take time and learn it myself and feel like I can do a proper guide on the different elemental fixes. It is very important to make sure you fill the sword gauge for the Ultima Slash rotation. So get in the habit of making sure you take this to absolute full before going into sword mode and activating ultimate. But when we go into ultimate now, if you want to do the sword wave or the new Ultima Slash attack, what you're going to do is instead of immediately holding down basic and going into the sword waves, we're going to immediately dodge backwards after sword form is activated and then mash on basic attack. This is going to take us into the new leaped Ultima Slash attack string that will build up the new glow stacks that do Ultima Slash damage when we trigger ultimate. So we go in, immediately dodge, and then we just start the basic attack string, and you see we get this new attack string. The red number builds up off to the side. This stat counter maxes out at a total of 150. How quickly it builds up is dependent upon how many enemies you hit with this new attack string. So it's actually pretty tricky to get this to max stacks just by hitting a single boss one at a time. But you get it up to as high as you want. Then you cast your ultimate. In this case, now the ultimate is going to do QTE, or excuse me, the ultimate is now going to do ultima / damage, and then the QTEs still boost just as they would. So that's the new attack string. That's really all there is to it. Everything else about Bianca plays identical, except now we don't have orb RNG on the cross slash thing, and you get the new attack string. Again, if you are just doing the physical skills, you are not going to want to use the new attack string. You're going to want to do your classic rotation, so cross slash, call TEs, max out the sword gauge, go into ult, and then we're immediately going to go into the sword waves, spam until we get to 99, wait for the QTEs, same as always. This rotation is not new. It's been around for a couple years. We all know this song and dance. But if you are on a physical weak stage, do not use the new attack string and do not build up the red stacks. You will see a very steep damage drop off, because just because something is physical weak does not mean it is ultima / weak. So just something to keep in mind there. That's pretty much it. This is all there is to Bianca's leap skill. It's very simple to use. It's very simple to understand. Should you leap Bianca if you don't care about ultima / or you are nowhere near the point in account building where you're going to be utilizing the elemental fixes? Honestly, you can probably hold off if you're hurting for materials. If you don't have the cogs or the event currency to buy the materials to leap, this isn't going to do a lot if you aren't planning on getting into the new elemental fixes here in the near future. She does see a little bit of physical boost. You will get a slightly better Warzone score if you have these leaps compared to not having it, but not enough to really change anything notably. Bianca is the sub DPS now. Han Ying is doing the work. So leaping Bianca just to increase her physical output really isn't going to change much. And, of course, do keep in mind that Bianca's physical attacker replacement is coming in the very near future. We should see that about 2 patches from now. So Bianca is no longer going to be a part of the physical team here in the near future. However, it's still probably worth it to leap her long-term just because she's part of the ultima / team. That's going to give her a spot on a team going forward, even after she's replaced in the physical team. It is a very, very easy rotation and easy elemental fix to utilize. Some of the other elemental fixes require pretty notably different rotations for characters. Bianca's is pretty straightforward. So if you are, at the end game, you're working on getting the elemental fix teams built up for future proofing, by all means, go ahead and leap Bianca. If you are in need of saving materials for when Nana Knight drops later this week so you can buy her equipment and memories and all that good stuff, feel free to hold off on this. It is not a make or break thing that needs to be done right this second. So that pretty much covers it. I'm going to keep this one short. It's a very basic leap upgrade. Should be pretty easy to decide whether or not it's for you. But if you have any questions, you want my input on if it's worth leaping your Bianca or not, feel free to let me know. If you don't have Bianca, do remember we will get a free copy if you complete the event tasks for the, what was it called? Wandering Waves? The game show wheel that we get to spin. Yeah, this thing. Once you've done 30 spins on this, you will get a free copy of Bianca. So even if you're new and don't have her, well, you will soon. So something to consider if you're going to be doing the elemental fixes in the future. Even if you don't have Bianca, you're going to get her for free. So that's pretty slick. But anyway, that pretty much covers it. I will have plenty of stuff this week. I will record my polls for Nana Knight when she drops in a couple days. I will get a Nana Knight guide out later this week. I want to check out the new alternative interpretation mode and see how that works, do a video on that. And there's another event mode that I want to do a video on that I think is extremely important for PGR and is something that should be encouraged to be made a permanent mode if we can help it. I'll talk about that when I get to it, but I have a lot planned for this week, so don't worry, there's plenty more PGR content coming. In the interim, like I said, you got questions, let me know in the comments. If you want to do the YouTube stuff, like, comment, subscribe, blah, 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 it's always appreciated, never necessary. But the channel continues to see just continued growth for PGR, and that makes me exceedingly happy because, frankly, I just have a good time making these videos and talking about this game. It's great. So thank you so much for all the feedback and support. I really do appreciate it. That's going to do it for now. I will see y'all in a couple days for Nana Knight things, and we'll keep rolling here in Shapers of Ripples. So y'all take care. Peace for now, and see you later this week.